All right, this is part 2 of MassCom 105, the end of the fall semester 2020, the end of my teaching career. This is my last diversity and media class, but more importantly, I want to hear from my students. I'm going to stop talking. My guests can certainly talk about their experiences with me. I'd like to hear what my students have to say as well. Go for it. It's your time.
I really enjoyed this class. I think it was very eye-opening, and for a lot of people, we don't get to have a class like this where we're open about, saying what we think and stuff, because majority of the time you're in a class and you kind of want to run through the pack. And yes, you want to strive to be excellent, but also you want to make sure that you're kind of saying what your teacher wants to hear, and you're trying to get that grade and everything else, and you don't want to have any issues in the class. But I enjoyed the fact that, Bob, you really did play devil's advocate in every session. You didn't, we didn't necessarily argue here. If we had differences, you let us talk it out. And it was really nice because instead of, yes, we didn't have a lot of homework in this class, but instead of worrying about that, you had us talk to each other and get to know each other and kind of have these experiences of, how it is to be a reporter, to talk about, to ask the big questions, to talk to people, to understand people that you may or may not agree with.
I think another benefit of this class was just all the guest speakers that you allowed us to ask questions to and everything. We got to talk to so many different people, including Kit and Devin today. We just got to talk to so many diverse people across the board. And I just want to thank you for all of those experiences. We got to ask great questions and got to hear their responses. So thank you for that.
When it came to my participation in the class, I always felt like you pushed everyone to be a part of the conversation. And I think in doing so, it brought out a lot of opinions that usually people would keep shut in. And especially when it comes to bringing in people from different aspects of the field, and allowing us to kind of ask the questions that we find ourselves a difficult time to answer with our own experiences. And I honestly, every time I'd finish a class, when we talk to somebody, I'd call my dad and let him know, I just talked to this person and such, and I learned this and that. And I was always very excited to tell him, and he was excited to listen. But that was one of the important things. It was, I got an experience out of this class that I would have never had anywhere else. And that's one of the biggest takes that I can take from here.
Every day when it was Thursday, I would enjoy waking up to see Bob's class and another class, because these are discussions we don't get, and it's very eye-opening. It makes you see things differently, because I'm online a lot of the time, so when I see these closed mind comments that I don't agree with, I try to see where they're coming from, and I try to see more of the facts and trying to see depth versus feeling. And it's very eye-opening to have this experience.
Yeah, I agree, and I like the fact that we would talk about current things going on, just in general, whether it be politics or social things going on. And I like that we got to talk about them with each other, and I feel like it helped me be able to know how to maybe understand or even process my own thoughts when I'm having a conversation about something that's political or social with other people. So I think that's something really valuable that I've learned in this class.
I, for one, sorry.
Go ahead.
I, for one, really enjoyed this class just because I liked hearing everyone's opinions, and I feel like Bob definitely pushed me to explain, my viewpoint on things. As a Black woman, I definitely am the type to want to listen more than speak, and I think sometimes that comes from not always, or sometimes feeling like my perspective isn't really looked for. And so I really appreciate that you kind of tried to push me outside of my comfort zone and share my experience, because it is valid and not everyone knows. So I appreciated that.
I really like how you asked us about our personal stories, about our backgrounds, deep, truthful opinions. Because so when I was in high school, we had to take literature class, and we had to write some essays about like what I think about this essay or that novel, and we had to write like I think about this, and then we had to literally copy someone else's words but pretend that it's our own. But here you like you make us do good research and then to speak our truth, and it's really eye-opening. And my friends know about you, my parents know about you, and they all love you because you start such conversations that none of my friends that are in Ukraine even like thought that it would happen ever in their lives, because it's not a taboo, but such quality of teaching is just blows our mind, and I'm so thankful to you for broadening my horizons.
You have introduced me to more professional people than I've ever met in my entire life, and I'm a very anxious person when it comes to talking. And I like before, when I first started this class, I was literally like shaking almost in tears every time I talked, and now I feel like I genuinely have actual confidence to have discussions with people. I'm not nervous anymore. I'm actually excited, and I genuinely feel like I can have connections through this class, and that I actually know people that I never would have if you hadn't introduced like them to us. And I think you've given us all a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, I totally agree. And I think that I think what really helped in this class was how you structured it, because sometimes we can get distracted with like, oh, we have to learn this for the test. But I think you really held us to a standard when you said, hey, I'm not giving you guys tests. I'm not giving you guys all these other stuff, but I am asking you guys to be present and to always be talking. And I think that was really something that helped like other students as well, just be able to come forth and actually talk when they normally wouldn't, because our grade really depended on that. So I think for me, that was what made this class such an awesome experience. And I remember like the first day of class, I went to my sister and I'm like, oh my gosh, my teacher is so woke. Like, I don't think I've ever had a teacher that is so just like down to earth and has us having conversations about real things, and gives us the opportunity to not only learn to communicate, but to listen to others that have diverse or like different perspectives from our own.
Yes, I would have to agree with that 1,000%. I am back home, so I've had my best friend who goes to Fresno State sit in and listen to our class as well, and he was so interested and so intrigued. He was in his class, mind you, as well, but he was more intrigued with our class, and he was like asking me questions. And it's so great because this class in itself has just started so many conversations within my families, within my friend groups, like, because it really does stimulate to your mind intellect, like on an intellectual level. And it just really starts those conversations, and it has been amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, Bob, 2020 has been a terrible year. Lost my grandfather earlier this year. And then a couple weeks ago, I found out my grandma has COVID-19, at our nursing home. But your class has been one of the, I guess, bright spots for all of us. And I'm not just speaking for myself. And thank you for personally making myself, I'm a student with autism. So thank you for making me feel comfortable on just speaking out on so many issues that, usually you're supposed to keep away at the dinner table and, at Thanksgiving and stuff. And now, it's comfortable to talk about it with my family, and just seeing, I now have a personal connection with somebody who has COVID, and luckily, my grandma's doing well. She's on the recover. And Bob, I promise you, when I broadcast for ESPN, I will get you a ticket to Wrigley Field for the Cubs game. So you can count on that once I get my degree in a couple of years. So give me 5 to 10 years and you're on my list, but we'll keep in touch, Bob.
I'm going to stick around just so I can take advantage of that. That's very good.
Sounds good.
Kit and Devin, I know you guys want to say something before we quit. We only have about 4 minutes left.
If there's one takeaway I have from my time with Bob in the classroom, it is about personal connections. You guys see this? That's Bob. Bob officiated our wedding back in 2002. And if you haven't figured it out by now, this is, I think this is what kind of brings Bob joy. He wants to be a part of your life. He wants to hear about it. He wants to know what drives you and motivates you. And to him, it's about relationships. And if you can take that, if anything else you take away from Bob's class, it's that these connections is what really kind of bring happiness to you in your life.
So what I would say is, you know, I owe my career to Bob because, you know, I think by the time Bob met Kit was already sort of pointed in the direction in which he, you know, is now. I was pointed towards newspaper, and I really hadn't thought about television. I kind of flippantly told Bob when he asked me, have I ever thought about television? I said, well, you know, about as much as I've thought about joining the circus. And I was being flippant, and I was young and joking. But really what I was saying was that and I told him this, I said, I don't mean to be disrespectful. It just feels like a really cool job that somebody else had. I had people in my family that were successful in a lot of different arenas, but I didn't have anyone that was a journalist. And so it felt like the path wasn't clear to me at that time. But Bob, you know, I mean, it's really remarkable when a teacher sees potential in you that you don't even see in yourself in that moment, and identifies it, encourages it, and nurtures it, because it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like he said, hey, you should go have a career in TV. And I turned around and you know, snapped my fingers, and that's, I mean, it took work and it took some time. But, you know, if not for that chance meeting, if not for his kind of thought that I'd be good at it, and for his encouragement that day and afterwards, I wouldn't have this career. So I am forever grateful and indebted to him for that. And I'm sure that he's probably encouraged some of you guys. And there probably was a little voice in yourself that said, you know, is that something that I could do? You know, and like I say, go for it. Like if he sees it, he's not going to encourage you if he doesn't think you can do it. He's just not. And so if it lights a fire inside you, chase it.
Wow. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to cry when this is over. I'm not going to let you see me do it full bore, but yeah, it does make me feel good to know that my former students, past and current, soon to be, I should say, got my message. Tried to keep it real this year. COVID-19 was a major disappointment for all of us, but it'll always be remembered. And I'm glad to know you'll have a positive memory to take with you for the rest of your life. Final thoughts, last 30 seconds.
Damn, this is sad. I really
just
like
thank
this
you so
class.
much, Bob. Yeah,
Like,
thank you.
wow.
And thank you guys for helping make the Hearst.
Inspiration.
And thank you for helping make that Hearst Award so spectacular. I really appreciate that.
Hey, Bob, I know you're going to stick around, and I'll definitely miss you. You've been a friend of mine since that interview of the job where we sat in the office and talked, and you've welcomed me in your home. I spent time with Fonnie, your sister, and I got to really know you. So we're going to keep in touch. And I've learned a lot from you, and that's why I enjoyed doing your class last semester, because it's that spirit. You really get to know the people through this class. You really develop relationships with students. Everybody I met during that class, I've continued to, you know, connect with since then.
Well, I'm very happy to pass the baton to you and to Juan Cerna. Before we go, thank you publicly for everything you put up with me, because you know how I am with creative ideas. And I'm always saying, but Juan, what if we did this? And what do you think about that? And he always said, well, let's try. Let's see. No, we can't, but let's try this. That's what you want to do. Put that idea out there. He's the kind of person you want to work with in the future.
Hey, Bob, can we sign you up to be a guest lecturer next semester already?
Yeah, he'll be coming back. Yeah.
Thanks for everything, Bob. You've been wonderful.
No,
you changed my life, and it's been a beautiful thing. Thank you so much. I can't wait, and I'm excited for your future.
Well, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you to my guests today. Devin, go back and don't hurt yourself. Kid, make sure you get home and give your wife and your family a big hug for me. And hang in there with the teenager. You're going to have gray hair. All righty then. And the rest of you, have a good life. I want to see your final projects, but have a good life. And as I told you the other day, you're always welcome to stay in touch. I've asked Phyllis if I could keep my email address. The university says it's possible, so you'll know how to reach me. Go out there, make a name for yourself, and I'm very proud to have been your teacher this semester. Have a good one. Take care, folks.
So much.
Bye, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Bye, Bob.
For like
Thank you.
forever.
Thank you,
Oh,
Bob.
I like don't want to leave.
I don't wanna-
guys, I like
Over.
hanging out with you.
Bye, Bob.
Bye,
So
Bob.
much.
Bye, Bob. I'll see you soon. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say bye. Thank you, Professor.
We're gonna miss you. We're gonna
Yeah.
keep in touch, and we're gonna give you shout outs when we become famous.
Yeah.
Please do. Please do.
Bob, you are going to start your YouTube channel, right? Or do you?
I am.
You have-
Yeah, and I'm trying
okay.
to see. I'm trying to see if I can do some consulting work with the university so that we can continue having these dialogues without a
Yes.
grade and all that other stuff.
Yeah, if you make a new one, because I know you already have one, but if you make a new one, give us the name so we can subscribe to it.